Hall County.
Yeah, funny story. My border collie got after an armadillo the night before last. That was the funniest thing you've ever seen. She's like, what is this?
Possum on the half shell.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll give it just one more minute and then we'll get started.
Yeah, Chairman Queen, I only see 3 members on besides yourself at this time. So right now we have 4.
4 total. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We'll give it just another minute, see if anybody's able to slide in.
Yeah, and only 2 said that they would not be able to make it, so I'm expecting the others to join.
Okay. Who are those 2, Daphne?
Miss Filling Game and Miss Bros. Okay, Shawanda Cobbs is on now.
Okay. I'll tell you what, my clock says 10:02, so we'll go ahead and get started, and hopefully we'll have a few more folks roll in. So I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order and welcome everybody. Appreciate everybody's attendance on this fine March morning, and go ahead and ask Daphne if you'll go ahead and call our roll, please.
Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the first quarter 2025 DCS board meeting. A roll call begins. Candace Bros, Keith Elliott, Sonia Filling Game, Meg Heap. I saw Meg on. David Herring,
Present.
Jimmy Kitchens, Nick Norton, Tyrone Oliver, Steve Queen,
I'm present.
Shawanda Reynolds Cobb,
Present.
Kevin Tanner,
I'm here.
okay, 1, 2, 4. 4 members answered as present. I did see Meg Heap on. I don't know if she's still here or she can't hear us, but only 4 answered as present. So we do not have enough for a quorum at this time, unless I hear from Meg.
I am looking now to see if I still see her logged
Did
in.
I see her? I did see her jump on.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's showing online.
Yeah, I see her as well, but she's muted at the moment.
Yeah, she's muted.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we go ahead and proceed? We only have one item later in the agenda for action. And James, you believe that would be proper to do that?
Yes, sir. As long as we have a quorum once official business starts.
Okay, that was my understanding as well. So, and Meg, if you can, if you join us, if you could just interrupt and just let us know. You can unmute and just give us a shout out, and we can count you as present before we get to the later part of the agenda where we've got an agenda item we need to vote on. Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and James, good morning. If you'll provide our invocation, I'd appreciate it.
Good morning. Let us pray. Thank you for this day. Thank you for your blessings. We ask now all we do, always say, God, you be glorified, that people will be edified, and that the state of Georgia, God, that we be made better by the work and business that we do today. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Very good. Appreciate that. Well, once again, welcome. I appreciate everybody's attendance at our first meeting of 2025, and we'll go ahead and get started. And we've got a proposed agenda for this day's meeting that you all should have received. And I'll accept a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Move to
I move we approve the agenda.
Okay. Move to approve from Mr. Tanner. Can I have a second?
Second.
Everybody's beating you today, David.
I know, it's okay. Wanda can have it. That's fine. As long as you got one, we're good.
I appreciate it. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll accept the agenda as approved and as presented. Okay. Moving on to the review and approval of our last meeting minutes from the December 19th, 2024 meeting. Also, there again, you should have received those, or if you had a chance to review those. Does anyone have any questions, comments, or revision to those minutes that were presented? Okay, hearing none, I'll accept a motion to approve those minutes as presented.
Move to approve.
So they're letting you out of the gate this time,
I
Dave.
know.
And a second, please.
Second.
Second. Thank you, Shawanda. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. Hearing none, we'll accept the meeting minutes from December 19th, 2024 as presented. Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and move on to our reports. Commissioner Nail, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. And I believe Commissioner Oliver is now on the call.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, can you hear me? Sorry about that.
We've got you, Tyrone. Appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you, Commissioner Oliver. Appreciate that. I'll be brief. I wanted to bring to your attention a couple of personnel updates and changes. It didn't require us to add positions. We just made some reorganizations. And Lori Massengale now serves as our Director of External Affairs. She was previously our Director of Training. We're very, very pleased to have her in that new role and already doing wonderful things. And proud to announce Jim Sykes as now our new Director of Training. Many of you know Jim. Jim has been around many, many years and has a wealth of experience, and he is now over training, which includes the academy as well. So if you see those two, if you'll just give them a little shout out, we certainly appreciate what they have done and what they continue to do for us. Legislative update. There's not a great deal of legislation that is impacting us directly as an agency. The main thing is the budget, and I will get to that in just a moment. But before I move off a legislative update, I want to commend Philip Henson and the great work that he does day in and day out with the legislature. As many of you know, it's a lot of long hours. Philip is always there before everyone and is always there when everyone is gone. So I wanted to give him a specific shout out in keeping us informed, the field as well as the management team on what's happening with the legislature. As to the budget overview, we had 3 items that we presented. One was for a new build out for our Columbus DCS office and day reporting center, as well as continued funding for our Milledgeville office, and then 75 replacement vehicles. All 3 of those, that was included in Governor's Rec. All 3 passed the House and Senate appropriation. So we were very, very pleased with that. However, as many from the state agencies that are represented here know, that then we also got a request to propose or submit a 1% reduction in our budget. We have done that. We have complied. So we will stay tuned. One thing, the biggest thing I failed to mention, we are also being funded. As you know, law enforcement got raises and increases, and the way we met that was through our personal services. And as a result, we had to hold vacancies over So I want to express my appreciation to the legislature for funding the differences there and allowing us to come June begin or July continuing to hire back. I've given them the specifics. We want to keep our caseloads at 100 or below. That's still too high. That still leads the nation. But without having the funding to hire those positions, we were projecting that by December, our caseloads would have already risen back up to 150. In that regard, but also with the increased startups from the court. So we will keep you posted along the way, but I'm cautiously optimistic that everything will work out. Justice Counts is a project that has about 23 partners with it, and Georgia is an implementation state. Chief Justice Boggs was spearheading that, and the judiciary is on board with it. They have reached out to us also. When I say us, the corrections side of it, and I want to give a shout out to Parole and GDC. When Justice Counts asked if we would help bring them together so we can all receive a briefing on it next week, they were absolutely amazed how quick a response they got. So certainly Chairman Herring and Chris Barnett and Commissioner Oliver, thank you, because it boded well for Georgia, because they were sharing some really horrific stories about they can't even get those entities in some states to even come to a meeting together or sit in the room together. So I just want to express my appreciation and thanks. So more will come with that. One of the things you'll hear about in some of the future reports coming behind me is the work that is being done in the field. I remain extremely proud of the work being done each and every day, but I would like for you to note the complexities. You're going to hear some talk about reentry work and job fairs that we created. You're going to hear some talk about IRT and warrant sweeps. And it speaks directly to the many hats that we have to wear at any given time in this profession. And I always try to remind folks, especially legislature, that we're the only agency statutorily charged to do what we do. I just am so proud of the men and women of DCS and what they do, and wearing those multiple hats and knowing when to wear what hat. So I never want to miss that opportunity. You'll hear mention of it being Second Chance Month. I've made a statement before. I said, I don't like second chances. And what I meant is the topic of second chances and calling it second chances. And what I mean by that is, as many of you know, a lot of the folks that we work with, they sometimes need 3 and 4 chances. And sometimes it takes more than 2 chances for them to actually get it right. So I always like to say another chance. And I know sometimes you got to draw the line, but I think it speaks to the complexities of our work also, that many times it takes more than 2 chances. But I just want to make that point. From an agency, we love serving our community. We talk about one officer, one family, one community. One way we serve the community is through Special Olympics. We participated in the polar plunge this year, as well as the Winter Olympic Games. Had folks from bowling to a whole host. I can't remember, hockey, and then the polar plunge, where many of our staff braved almost freezing temperatures to get in the water. I told them I admire their guts, but I question their judgment. But I tell you, when you know that your effort is going towards these special athletes, it is really, really wonderful to see. And we'll be operating in April. We'll be supporting Camp Puzzle, which is a special program that helps those who are on the autism spectrum. So I'm always proud that we understand the important role we play in giving back to our communities in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So Again, I appreciate the support of the board and what you do for us. And at this time, it'll conclude my reports, and I'll entertain any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anyone have any questions or comments for the commissioner? No, appreciate it.
Thank you all. Have a great day.
Thank you, you too. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to our committee reports and beginning with the operations update. And Mr. Patrick Halsey. Good morning, Patrick.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, board members. Good to see you all this morning. Happy first day of spring to you. As y'all can see, I'm kind of sitting in for our Deputy Director, Mr. Llewellyn, today. First thing I want to do is let you know that he wanted to say hi to everybody. Second thing is kind of lower your expectations. I probably won't do as well as he does, but I'm going to try my best to, okay? First, I want to start off with what's going on new in our field operations division. Some legislation from last year, the 2024 legislative session, created some changes to several of our judicial circuits. So the first one is our Stone Mountain Circuit. The name was changed to the DeKalb Circuit. So that was the name change we created there. Secondly, Banks County, which was previously in the Piedmont Circuit, was moved to the Mountain Judicial Circuit. And then lastly, the new West Georgia Circuit was created. This created a circuit that encompasses the Heard and Carroll County. They were previously in the Coweta Circuit. And we now have a new chief there. Chief Zachary Stahl is the chief for the new West Georgia Circuit. And now we have 51 total circuits that we serve throughout the state. And all of these changes went into effect January 1st of this year. Last month, we opened our new Clayton Flint Judicial Circuit offices. So to give you a little background on this, back in 2020, due to some changes in ownership of the McDonough office, we were unable to renew our lease in office, and the McDonough circuit actually was totally virtual. We didn't have an office in that circuit at all. Then in 2022, we sustained a fire at our primary office in Clayton County at our Morrow office, and we were out of that office since that time. And I don't know if any of you have been looking for any kind of commercial real estate lately, but the prices are a little kind of crazy right now. So we have been working hard trying to find a place that met our needs and were financially responsible as well during that time. And we finally went back to the landlord we had in the Clayton office, and he just said he could refurbish that office for us and create a place where we could put both the Flint office, the Clayton office, and the Clayton DRC all in one place. So we have actually completed that process. That building opened last month. And if any of you are actually in the Morrow area, I recommend you please stop by and take a look at those offices. I feel you'll be very, very impressed with those. Next, I'm going to move on to our operational support division. In January and February, Reentry Services hosted its first ever Family Success Day events in Savannah and Albany. Family Success Day is designed to bring together community partners, service providers, and local advocates to share guidance, tools, and resources to help families navigate the reentry process. So many individuals under supervision require assistance applying for services, and this event focuses on educating the families on how best to support their loved ones once they transition back into the community. The families that attended are expected individuals to return home within the next 60 days. And some of the resources presented included banking assistance, employment education services, expungement and record restrictions, and healthcare coverage. Also, back in March, DCS partnered with the South Georgia Technical College to host a career expo, connecting over 200 attendees with 51 on-site employers, as well as community partners and service providers. This event provided attendees with direct access to hiring employers on the on-spot interviews. They did career advice and networking opportunities. The event also featured a second chance workshop as a prelude to the main event. And this workshop covered some soft skills, work ethics, and mock interviewing to help those participants prepare for those opportunities that they're going to receive in the second phase of that. And just as a reminder, Michael mentioned this before, April is Second Chance Month. And Reentry Services and our staff are gearing up to host several events throughout April to inform and highlight many opportunities for state, local, and our community-based service providers to provide meaningful second-hand chances for our members returning back to our community. Lastly, I want to talk about our Special Operations Division and highlight some of the great work they've done. As you know, our Special Operations Division partially consists of our RT, our Immediate Response Team, and our TFOs, our task force officers. And those task force officers are attached to our local and state law enforcement partners to assist with crime interdiction and security details. So in February, we conducted the Ware County Gang Operation. This was led by our RT team. It involved the GBI Gang Task Force, DCS, our field officers, Ware County Sheriff's Office, and Waycross PD, and the Georgia State Patrol. This operation resulted in 25 arrests and included 7 guns seized, 9 felony drug arrests, 8 DUI arrests, and 3 felony of probationers arrested. Back in March again, on the 14th and 15th, we participated in Operation Wrong Exit, which happened in Twiggs County. And this operation involved approximately 80 officers from multiple federal, state, and local agencies, including DCS, Dublin Circuit officers, and our DCS Task Force officers. It resulted in 62 arrests, 24 of which were felonies, 160 total citations, and 18 felony drug arrests. In closing, well, before I go there, let me talk about our special operations team. They do such a great job. And I mentioned a few things that they've done throughout the last quarter, but pretty on a daily basis, they're being called upon between our local law enforcement officers and other agencies to assist with security or with hurricane relief or natural disasters. And they come to the forefront each time and do a tremendous job. So I just want to thank all the members of our special operations team for the great work that they do. And in closing, just like everybody else, all of our teams do such a great job. They take the pride in providing opportunities for those we supervise and ensuring that the people in this great state of Georgia are safe. So with that, I'm going to conclude my report. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them at this time.
Thank you, Patrick. Appreciate that report. Does anybody have any questions or comments for Patrick? Oh, fantastic.
Thank you all. Y'all have a great spring.
You too, buddy. Okay, we'll move on to the administration update and Michelle Stanley. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and the board. Just a few updates from the administration side of the house. I have the pleasure of discussing a few ongoing projects that we currently have. Dr. Nick Powell has an article that was featured in the American Probation Parole Association publication Perspectives, titled Personal-Centered Supervision, Putting Principles into Practice. We've shared with the board, of course, on numerous occasions about our shift in supervision, but it's an honor to have this recognized for the work that's going on in Georgia on a national platform, and that was showcased in the publication for Dr. Powell. As a result of that publication, the Kansas Department of Correction will be visiting with us in May, and they'll be meeting with Dr. Powell and the rest of the research team in Savannah to observe the implementation of personal-centered supervision firsthand. We'll be happy to share the link for the article that Dr. Powell was recognized in with the board at your request. In other publications, we have been asked alongside our partners at the University of North Carolina and Georgia State University to publish a research paper in the British Journal of Criminal Justice titled Specialized Mental Health Supervision and the Impact of the Officer's Stress. And as you all know, we've shared those highlights before over the last year, just the work that we've been doing with the University of North Carolina and our mental health officers. So we will be recognized in that publication as well. Each year, the Bureau of Justice Statistics captures nationally the population and parole supervision, as well as prison admissions and parole entry discharges, as well for the National Corrections Report Program. Our Data and Services Director, Dr. Stevenson, Maria Stevenson, has participated annually in capturing this data and sharing it. And through the great work of she and her team, we're able to represent that work at the federal level across the work in Georgia. Also, in an effort to continue to sharpen our saw with professional development, our director, Ayana Sharp, and criminal investigator, J.C. Gibbs, in professional standards, attended the Georgia Internal Affairs Investigation Spring Conference. They provided some valuable training and resources that allows our investigators to be able to conduct our investigations with integrity, objectivity, in accordance with best practices, as well as current legal standards, through a range of topics that they share with us that's going to allow us to enhance our role and improve our investigative skills. And in that same vein, we also have two criminal investigators, Stacey Lester and J.C. Gibbs, who's attending the cell phone investigation techniques training. And that's going to also provide our investigator with techniques with smartphone applications, such as interpretation of call recordings, SMS messaging versus instant messaging, cell phone company resources, collecting that stored data, as well as recognizing those legal considerations. And all these things will assist us with continuing to evolve with the evolution of smartphone technology and help us with our investigations. Additionally, today, we have 3 team members that are graduating from the University of Georgia Carl Vinson Institute of Data Analytics Certification Program. Dr. Maria Stevens, as well as Brooke Gentry Ramsey out of our Data and Services Division, as well as Nick Mashburn out of Operations. This program helps participants learn how to weave data storytelling into a compelling presentation that supports decision-making, as well as providing in-depth, comprehensive data analysis and visualization training at all levels of government. We're looking forward to how they will utilize this information and they glean from this program, and how it will strengthen our performance as well as impact our future decisions. So join me in congratulating them on the completion of this certification program if you see them. Lastly, we had several team members that presented workshops during the Winter Institute for APPA in late January in Nevada. Dr. Maria Stevenson, as well as Brooke Gentry Ramsey from the Research and Data Services team, co-presented with the Florida Department of Community Corrections with providing essential skills for leaders to transform complex data sets into actionable insight. As well as Dr. Nick Powell spoke on exploring how simplifying data and aligning it with KPIs can improve organizational wellness and engagement and performance. And our last workshop was hosted by Deputy Commissioner Bert Llewellyn and Executive Director Shantae Porter, discussing recruitment and retention challenges, offering strategies to optimize staffing and reducing officers' workload while addressing workforce attrition, and that community supervision personnel can implement and be basically supportive of their agency. This presentation was so overwhelming that they were invited to come back and present again in August during the Summer Institute in New York. It's always an honor to be invited to present and be recognized on a national platform, and this just speaks to the continued great work that happens in the great state of Georgia. As always, we are appreciative of not only the work highlighted in today's report, but also the work of each staff that makes up this amazing team of DCS. Mr. Board Chair, members of the board, that concludes my report. Are there any questions? If not, I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Michelle. Does anyone have any comments or questions about Michelle's report? Was that information? No. Thank you again, Michelle.
You're welcome.
Okay, we'll move on to our next report, the misdemeanor probation oversight, and Mr. Tim Lewis.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, fellow board members. Hope everyone is well. Currently, there are 64 entities registered, 50 of those being government agencies and 14 private companies. We've recently added Clay County Probation Services down in Southwest Georgia. This time, there are 834 individuals registered. Our team of compliance monitors have started their review procedures for the year and are making steady progress. I'm proud of the professional manner by which our team performs these duties. In any scenario such as ours, where a group of individuals are reviewing the work product and the performance of others, there's a chance for confusion, frustration for all involved. So I'm thankful for how our team conducts themselves, and also want to commend the agency directors and their team members for their professionalism and responses during the compliance review processes that go on throughout the year. Also accomplished during the quarter, Daphne Evans Huff has completed the entity registration renewal process and generated the certificates for each of the 64 providers. Reginald Hewley has kicked off our training sessions for the year, and to date, there have been 64 sessions with total attendance exceeding 1,500. As shared in our previous reports, our virtual training sessions have been overwhelmingly popular, but we also see the benefits that can be achieved through in-person sessions. This year, we've held 2 in-person training sessions already, one in Blairsville and another in Winder. We're scheduled to be in Cohutta in May, and we're also working towards scheduling others later in the year. In addition to these in-person training events, we're excited about our upcoming directors meeting and training, which is scheduled for April the 28th at Gypstick. I want to extend an invitation to any of you that may be in the area. You'd certainly be welcome to join us. Also related to training, Kim Wood has completed the review of the 2024 annual in-service training requirements, and she found everyone to be in compliance. Mr. Chairman, this concludes my report. I'm happy to respond to any questions that you or the board may have.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate that report, and of course, your efforts and your team's efforts. Anyone have any questions or comments for Tim? Okay. Thank you, everyone, for those great reports. Appreciate that very much. We'll move on to our next item, which is old business. I'm not aware of any. Does anybody have any old business that we need to address? Nope. Okay, we'll move on to the next agenda item, new business, and the FVIP rule revision update. And I believe, April, I saw you on, and April, you're going to provide this update for us.
Actually, I am, and thank you so much, Chairman Queen. And I'm joined by my colleague, Jamila Farrell, who's sharing the screen. Jamila, would you like to go on and introduce yourself?
Yes, good morning, Chairman Queen and the members of the board. So as April said, I'm Jamila Farrell. I'm the Director of Program Planning and Development at the Commission on Family Violence. And this morning, we're going to discuss, the procedure updates for the Family Violence Intervention Program, often referred to as FVIP, and, the rule changes that we are proposing. And just to give you a little background, in 2019, we did our first revision of the FVIP rules. And the revision was a necessary step, but there have been some practical challenges and inconsistencies in implementation. The proposed comprehensive rule revision that we're proposing today, it aims to address these issues by providing clearer guidelines and streamlining processes. This should help intervention providers and facilitators stay compliant and focus on their impactful work, ultimately enhancing protection for victims and reducing domestic violence. Prior to this meeting, you should have received the FVIP rule revision document, and I hope you had an opportunity to review it. And in the document, you'll see in the first section, it's some definitions. So we just added a few definitions, and we did some revisions to some definitions, and we did that for clarity and continuity. The second part of the document focuses on the actual rule changes. And for each rule that we changed, there is a synopsis and a justification for why those rules were changed. At this time, we won't be discussing any individual rule revisions, but we will have a public hearing and a public comment period to address any concerns that anyone may have. And April, our executive director who started us off today, she'll discuss a little further that process and give some dates and deadlines for that. So just, we did have some goals and expectations for the revision of the rules. And, and we want to enhance protection for victims. So by providing clearer rules and standards can lead to more effective interventions and better support for victims. Improve processing and compliance. So by providing clearer guidelines, it will bolster confidence and synergy between the commission and program operators, encouraging new providers and facilitators to complete and maintain their certifications. And then, rebuilding stakeholder trust and engagement. And by demonstrating a commitment to continual improvement, can strengthen stakeholder trust and encourage appropriate referrals to intervention programs. So that's just a summary of what we're discussing and why we're proposing these changes to the rules. And at this time, I'll just pass it over to April.
Thank you so much, Jamila. And as she said, the first time these rules were amended was in 2019, but we began this process of working on this proposal in 2021, if you can believe it. So this has been a labor of love with a lot of stakeholder involvement and a lot of input. I'm going to quickly run through our timeline and then the process in terms of public notice and the hearing, just to give you an idea of what our plan is going forward, should you adopt these rules. The notice went out to you all in early March for you to review. It also went out to the GCFD commission members. It was reviewed and affirmed by the GCFD commission members last Friday on March 14th at our quarterly public meeting. It was unanimously confirmed. It is now being presented to you all, the DCS board, for official adoption, and that will allow us to open the public comment period. We are scheduling the public comment period, which is generally it's supposed to be a 30-day public comment period, but ours is going to run a little longer than that because we're going to run it all the way through the public hearing date. So that will occur from March 21st, beginning tomorrow, through April 25th. Following the public comment hearing, GCFD will be responding to and addressing every public comment we received, whether written or oral, and we will prepare a document and provide it to you all in advance of the notices or the comments that we received and the decisions or actions on those comments. And then finally, should all go well and we provide all of that to you and have addressed all issues, we plan to propose reapproach the board in June for proposed final adoption. All right, next slide. In terms of our process, we have, I'll just run through this. We have the notice and the actual proposed rules, both of documents which you have already received. Once they are approved for initial adoption, we will post these on both the GCFD and DCS websites, where they will remain throughout the entire public comment period through the public hearing. We will also make hard copies available for reviewing or distribution by appointment through the DCS central office, which our office will manage that process and work with the DCS office staff there to make sure we're smooth and efficient on that. And then finally, once it's adopted, we are also going to send this notice and the rules out to our entire listserv, which Jamila can tell me better than I can, but which comprises at least 3,000 individuals. So we are going to do everything we can to make sure that all interested stakeholders are aware of the rule changes and able to access them. We will also address any accessibility issues by being anybody with those issues can contact us by phone or email, and we will work with any individuals that have accessibility issues with reviewing the rules. Public comments will be received in 3 ways. They can email us at public_comment@gcfd.ga.gov. Also, we will receive them by mail at the DCS main office. Details about that are in the actual notice, and we can receive them by fax, which I hope we are still using fax, but you never know. So, and then, like I said, finally, the actual public hearing date is anticipated for April 25th at 9 a.m. And we will have a form that goes up at the beginning of that week to accept signups for that public comment. And then on the last slide, just our contact information and ways to, get in touch with us and provide notice. I will make it clear in the notice and on the websites, we will not accept any comment by phone or through any other channels besides the official public comment sources that have been listed. And that's all I have. If you have any questions or want any additional clarity on anything, I'm happy to address.
Thank you, April and Jamila. I appreciate that. Does anyone have any questions or comments regarding the rule revisions that are being proposed? No? Okay. And as I understand it, this action on the board will just be to adopt the rules as proposed so we can move forward.
That's correct. We would ask the board to take a motion on the floor to allow us to have initial adoption of the rules.
Is that correct, James?
That is correct.
Okay. And then after the public comment period, the finalization of those rules, it'll circle back to us for our June board meeting for final approval on the board. Okay.
That is correct.
Okay. If everybody's on the same page with that, I'll accept a motion to accept these rules as presented to adopt.
This is Ken, and I move that we adopt the rules as presented.
Okay. Motion by.
Hold on a second.
And all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll accept those rules as presented to adopt, so we can move forward with the publication of them in the comment period. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay. I don't believe we have any further new business on our agenda. So if there's none that anybody has, we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Once again, I appreciate everybody's attendance. Thank you for being here so we can get these items accomplished, and we'll see you at the next meeting.
Bye. Have a good evening.